Hello, everyone. Today we're at MPE, and today I'm here with David. David, we've had a great conference the last couple of days. You have a great perspective on everything that's going on in this conference. Could you maybe give our audience like your 3 takeaways from this conference of 2025?
3 takeaways. Well, I'd say first of all, you've probably noticed the same thing as me, which is AI is a very dominant theme for 2 reasons. First, because everybody understands that AI is going to have incredible impact in our industry, like every other industry. But also because it's so uncertain, like no one's sure what that impact is going to be, and that makes it really interesting to listen to different perspectives. So already AI has been a much bigger part of the conference than I expected. I think wallets, I mean, you probably would have expected the same thing. If you look at the statistics, payments are heading into wallets. Wallets are about a lot more than payments, identity and certification, and we've got the European Digital Identity Wallet, we've got a UK wallet coming. So the whole wallet thing I think is really interesting, listening to different people in that. And I guess probably the wild card is the whole stablecoin thing. Because the last couple of years, stablecoins have been seen as, I guess, sort of quite marginal. People aren't really sure. It's very clear this year that stablecoins are heading into the mainstream. And that could have some very disruptive influences as well on other parts of the sector. So if you forced me to pick 3, I would say AI, wallets, and stablecoins.
Absolutely. I think we've seen it everywhere, from the new vendors that are coming around, from existing companies that are actually adapting to all of those different changes. Going into 2025 and beyond, what are maybe some of the challenges that you foresee in the future, also from the panels, the people that you've been talking to, that you think merchants should really be aware of?
Actually, the last panel I came from summarized it all quite nicely, because we live inside a regulatory envelope, and whatever we think about how we're going to use these new technologies, it's a regulated business, and we have to understand how the regulators are thinking about this and where they're going. And we've been through waves of regulation that haven't really achieved what they intended to do, PSD and open banking and all this sort of thing. So I think we're about to see, and I don't mean the AI regulation and things like that, I mean payments regulation specifically, from open banking to kind of more open finance. So that's an important thing. I think digital identity, people have mentioned this on a few panels already. I think what's coming is some change because of digital identity. When you have the European Digital Identity Wallet in place, in a transactional environment, if you know who everybody is, payments are not that complicated. A lot of the friction, a lot of the expense, a lot of the cost in the payment space is because you don't know who everybody is and you're trying to manage fraud and do probabilistic fraud calculations. So I think, if looking forward to next year, I think digital identity is going to play a much bigger role, which is good for the merchants and for the banks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's all about just having that control as a company, as a merchant as well, using digital identities to make sure that we can just suppress fraud as much as possible, but at the same time keep on innovating, keep on doing new things as well.
The cost of, as well as I do, the cost of the whole KYC, AML, CTFP, that is a significant barrier to innovation. Because you end up with this situation where you have some guys, they have a great idea for a new service, and they discover 90% of their budget is burned up on compliance, and they never get to sort of develop the product that they want. As we get more of that stuff in place, digital identity stuff in place, in theory at least, that should reduce some of the barriers to competition, and we should see kind of more innovation in the space.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also that what we're seeing now much more than I've ever seen before is just the collaborative effort, right? It's not just MasterCard and Visa coming in and actually providing their own solutions so that more merchants and more PSPs, more acquirers can actually provide new solutions, but it's also the collaborative nature between those companies as well. It's not them versus us, it's actually everybody trying to solve great problems for their merchants and then working forward.
I think it's got a lot to, you're right, and actually you're kind of more well-versed in sort of data space than I am, but a lot of that cooperation is really data sharing.
Yes.
And as opposed to kind of business cooperation. And there's been a couple of presentations already about how to enhance data sharing while simultaneously maintaining security and privacy and that. So I think next year, again, you could be right about that.
And maybe the last question. So we've talked about a lot of different concepts. I think AI is definitely there, stable coins are there, digital wallets are there. What do you believe is missing or should have been talked about more on this conference, or should we talk about in the next conference?
I think there's one very sensitive topic that people are not very comfortable talking about at all, but I've heard, at the coffee machine, metaphorically, people talking about, and that's the relationship with the US. Because, the European Commission is, broadly speaking, very unhappy that all of Europe's payment infrastructure is provided by non-European companies. And because of recent events, there are concerns about the extent to which Europe is dependent on external sources in particular. So I wonder if, and again, it's uncomfortable people talking about it, but I wonder if under the surface there's a lot more work going on now about how we can build European versions of, everything, not just the payment themselves, but the cloud that supports it and the AIs and and so on. So yeah, I think you're right. Like if you look out the corner of your eye, there is a little bit of an elephant in the room, frankly.
I think that's a really great point, and maybe a very great one to close off on. I want to thank everybody, especially all of the people that I've interviewed during this MPE season, MPE conference, and I want to thank you as well. I think you did an amazing job on all of the panels. I'm looking forward to working with you a lot more, and hopefully next year we'll be able to put even a bigger event and get some of those sensitive topics on the radar as well. Thank you very much.
Talk to you again, Dwayne.
Thank you as well.